The main thing with these wings, sometimes you gotta fight the bolt. So I'll fight with the bolt. You guys
We'll just go all the way.
yeah, and I'm gonna say up, down, left, right. I'll kind of direct traffic after 6 high noon. When we dropped it, what happened was the bolts were...
I'm Jeremy Krobeck, mortgage master and airplane builder, but this is what I love. Let's get you home.
That's right, we're back and we're going to talk about the wing. If you've seen any of my prior videos, we go over the whole horizontal stabilizer, the whole tail section, and how we put all the woodworking that went into that. Also, the floorboards and the parking brake and the rudder cables and all that stuff. So check out those prior videos. We're going to get into this wing build, and the wing was quite the undertaking. When you look at the manual, you're like, oh yeah, I made it through these 2 sections. I'm on to section 3, which is the wing, and I'm gonna fly through this and get going on the next steps. And boy, that wing takes a lot longer than you think it's gonna take. So the first thing we do, working on getting the reinforcement brackets in on these wings so we can put the wings on to the fuselage, and have to drill a bunch of holes, cleco them, and then flip the thing over, do it on the other side. Already did this one, it's all set. And then I gotta glue the plates on and everything. I still gotta do that on that wing. So that's where I'm at. You can watch me kind of put a couple of these in. So we got that hole drilled, put cleco in it. There's a bracket here and a bracket on the bottom. There's 2 brackets. One for the top, one for the bottom. I got the prefabbed kit or whatever with the quick build wings, and so these are pretty much ready to roll. Had to ream the holes out a little bit. I'm sure I'll have to do some touching up there too. These holes were already drilled, so that's cool. So you pop this pin in, one there, then you drill through the aluminum and then the steel plate, pain in the butt to drill. The aluminum's easy to drill through. That's not so easy. 3 in on this side, we're gonna do a couple more. The real cool thing about this is once we're done with the number 40 bit, we go back through with the number 30 bit. So it goes in there, these 2 brackets. And then you got to do this bottom piece. So this is this other side here. Now we get to come back over here and you can see all the metal shavings. It's rough, dirty. So now it's got to be deburred and cleaned up and get ready to glue. And then I'll do the same over here, clean it up, and then we'll flip it over. It's really easy to flip. I just rotate it on the rotisserie. They're light. Got them. One there, inside plates, if you can see in there. So there's rivets, they go through both those, plus Hysol. Touch this up with the reamer here, this big hole when I got it all done, so the pin slides smoothly. Those in total took me 7 hours to complete. So it's 1 page of the manual. Seems like it's going to be quick and easy, and it just takes a long time because there's a lot of holes and a lot of drilling. So anyways, I'm going to get back to it. And so there's some bracket prep there, and then onto the lift strut bracket and the jury strut bracket. Now that lift strut bracket has a ton of holes they have to drill and rivet. I don't know how many there are. There's got to be close to 100 of them. This has all been sanded and burnished. I haven't really recorded much of that. This outline here is where some brackets are going to go. I'm going to have to drill a ton of holes in those. These guys go here, and you have to drill out all that. Cleco it, glue it. All right, so check it out. I got onto the next step. I have to attach these brackets here onto
the wings, and these are the brackets for the struts. So you have to drill out each of those holes and then deburr the holes. And there's holes on each side of each bracket. And of course, there's 4 of them. So drill them out, deburr them, and then Hysol it with the micro balloons and rivet it.
One thing about the wings is there's 2 of them, so you do something on one side, you got to then go do it on the other wing, and so it's double the work really. And get those brackets all ready to roll and get those wings mounted on the plane, and which is quite the undertaking, but you get them mounted for the first time, and then you do some measurements for the butt rib. And the butt rib, you're doing about 50% of it now, 50% after fabric. One tip that I would have for you for this butt rib is I went back and forth with the instructions and what I was seeing on the internet about this, and ultimately got some of it wrong and had to go backwards a few steps. But that metal strip glues onto the butt rib, goes on the fat side of the top of that butt rib where there's a little extra length. That vertical piece of the butt rib is offset slightly. Now you can put it facing in or out depending on which butt rib you put on which side. I put mine on the inside of the plane so I'd have more bite into the acrylic. Okay, so you get these butt ribs on and then the wings come back off. One of the things I did on this wing that added a day or so's worth of work is I did decide to epoxy all of the aluminum on the wing that I could get to easily. And so even the inside of the spar I epoxied. I did that because I may put it on float someday. It may end up, near the coast someday. And I just wanted to, again, build. If you're going to spend the time doing this to me, what's a couple more hours to do it right? So I know it added a little bit of weight, but I was okay with that for the longevity of those spars. Once I was done painting it, there was a bunch of false ribs that I had to install as well. I did do some of those before paint and the ones on the fuel tank after paint. With the quick build wing kit, Kitfox does a really good job of doing some of the harder, tedious stuff that you have to be a little more precise with. So the ribs that they have you gluing on are false ribs. There's a couple main ribs that you glue, but most of it's already glued up and all aligned properly. Also, those lift strut brackets, there's a hole that marks the spot for that lift strut bracket so that the wing sweep and everything and the heat roll on it's all correct. So I would definitely recommend getting the quick wing build kit. It does not make the wing build quick, but it should be they should call it the time saver kit. So you get these ribs varnished and Hysoled on and all that, and then it's onto the fuel tanks. And the fuel tanks they're pretty raw piece of fiberglass. You have to get a tap out and tap the holes. You've got to then rinse the tanks out a bunch of times with acetone to get the fiberglass particles out of the tank. And so the fuel tanks, you do this rinsing and drying and rinsing and tapping, and then eventually you get them mounted into the plane, and then you've got to Hysol some false ribs on the bottom of the fuel tank and pray everything's not going to leak when you eventually put fuel in it after the plane's done. So you get the tanks on, and then you got to do the trailing edge. The trailing edge is a strip of metal that goes on the trailing edge of the wing, and then you do the leading edge, which is a fiberglass cap that goes over it, and there's more sanding and superfill and cutting, and at this point, you're looking at this thing and you're like, I got a wing. I mean, it clearly looks like a wing, and it's nearing completion, but you have to get it ready for the Flaperon. So Kitfox doesn't have flaps or ailerons, it has Flaperons, which is both, and those hang off the back of the wing with these hangers, and they're their own airfoil. But you have to get the brackets proper on the wing to accept these hangers, and there's a bunch of screws and metal brackets you got to put on those ribs to reinforce them essentially. And then you actually do hang the Flapperon on there to make sure all the holes are drilled in the proper spots and everything's ringed properly, and you get it all lined up. And so speaking of Flapperons, some other things you got to do with the Flapperons, you got to put the caps on the end of them and fit those. The Flapperons are more work. You're doing some riveting on the back, the trailing edge of the Flapperon, and getting that all set with some flush rivets. That's the first time I'd ever flush riveted anything. Flapperons eventually hung onto the plane, all to come back off again for paint and fabric and stuff. There's a lot of that, it seems like, in the build where you put something together and then you take it back apart. Who wants to take it back apart? But you end up taking it back apart so that you can complete more steps, and then you ultimately in the end put it back on during final assembly. So the last thing I'm going to show you here is I had a get together before fabric at my house so people could check out the airplane before it was covered in fabric. So after this get together was over, I had a couple extra hands there to help, and so we took the wings back off as I was getting ready for fabric. Check out this clip of us taking those wings off, and you can kind of see how it's done.
It's not that tough, and this stuff is not heavy. Like, it's an air. If we could lift this whole thing up, the three of us could. These bolts don't just push out. Well, this one won't. Okay. So yeah. So you guys get down here on this end for right now. That's one on each side. Now, when you grab this wing, you don't want to grab the wood. There's two aluminum struts, right? And so you want to change your here. And you're here on this vein aluminum.
Alright, so want me to grab on this?
Yeah. But it's not even going to be really that much weight until we get it all loose.
Where are we putting the wings?
Oh yeah. Yeah. These slide in the end of those aluminum pieces. So once we get it off, we'll stick it on there. But it won't be heavy. I mean, it's not that, with three dudes, it's not heavy.
So once you get it loose though, like we kind of need...
Then you got to keep it level.
On it.
Basically, you got to keep it level.
Are we going to be good standing on the south side like this?
Yeah, because it's not that heavy.
Yeah.
So to get this bolt out, that's where we got to figure it out. So
yeah,
right there, up a little bit.
Yep. Let's see.
Look at that. Holy shit.
This is where Amy got blasted in the face. So heard about that, right?
Yeah. Yep. And then you're just taking the other side then, Jeremy?
So just be careful not to step on. Yep, so now so these bolts are still connected.
No, it's not gonna flip up.
There's one bolt holding it now. You guys with me? Okay, try lifting it just a touch. There we go.
Yep.
Okay, it's loose. Just drop it all the way down. It's 90 degrees. Okay. Now, let me go first, actually. All right. Now, do one of you just hold that, James? Can you come down here?
Yep. Yeah, I can pull it, James, go there. Sorry, I got it. Let it go. Yep.
So, James, take this rotisserie and slide it into the soup cups. Good. So, restrict at the top. There we go. And then, okay, now go to his end. Here, just push that out.
Is it this side? Oh, there we go.
Okay, you're out. Okay, man, so you guys just watch that wing doesn't drop. This is loose. Okay. Should be fine.
All right, so we're going to wrap that up here. Next time we're going to cover Oratex fabric. So that is going to be a really cool video on the fabric that I put on the plane. Just remember, I'm a mortgage master, not an airplane builder, so take this advice for what it's worth, free. If you want to help me put some 100 low lead in my tank, like and subscribe to my channel. Till next time.